Edo State House of Assembly has urged the State High Court to affirm the suspension of the chairman of the 18 local government areas of the state. In a suit marked B/34/2025 and filed on January 28, 2025, the House seeks a declaration that by the virtue of the provisions of Section 20B of the Local Government Law 2000, Edo State, the first claimant, Edo State House of Assembly, has the power to suspend a chairman and or vice chairman of a local government council in Edo State. The House had on December 17, 2024, suspended all the local government chairmen and their deputies for what it described as insubordination to Governor Monday Okpebholo. The legislative action followed a petition to the House by Okpebholo, who complained that the local government chairman shunned his directive that they should provide their council statements of accounts. The embattled local government chairman and the opposition People's Democratic Party, however, faulted the suspension of the local government chairman, contending that the governor lacks the power to demand local government account statements in view of the local government autonomy recently declared by the Supreme Court. All the chairmen and their deputies have since been impeached, which the chairmen and their deputies are also challenging in court. But in the suit filed through its lawyer, C.O. Edosa of C.O. Edosa and Co., the Assembly wants the court to determine whether the decision to suspend the chairman and their deputies violated Section 20B by undermining the democratic structure of the local government councils in the state. Another issue raised is whether under Sections 11, subsection 3 and 14 of the law, the legislative arms of the councils were properly constituted by democratically elected members. Additionally, the claimants seek to clarify whether, in the absence of a chairman and vice chairman, the legislative arm of the councils have the authority to manage and control the affairs and funds of the local government councils. The claimants request declarations affirming that the Assembly's actions have not dismantled the democratic structure of the councils and that local government administration remains intact. They also seek a declaration confirming that under Section 20B of the Local Government Law 2000, the Assembly has the legal authority to suspend the local government chairman and vice chairman. Furthermore, the claimants argue that based on Section 11, subsection 3 and 14 of the law, the leaders of the legislative arms of the local government councils are duly elected officials. The defendants have been instructed to enter an appearance either personally or through legal representation within 42 days of being served. Judge, what do you make of these developments in Edo State local government saga?
Well, I'm particularly interested in how this will pan out at the end of the day, because from what I understand, the laws of Edo State government is inconsistent with the Constitution, given the recent pronouncement or judicial pronouncement of the Supreme Court that gave autonomy to the local government. And I think that is the reason why the local government chairman, according to the report, is not giving the governor, the reason, to align with him. Because from what we got here is that there is insubordination from the local government chairman to the governor.
Because of their refusal to submit statement of account.
A meeting or something, asked him for statement of account, and this man refused. So he sees it as insubordination. The House of Assembly now waded in to suspend them. From what we heard, they have been impeached. So the reason why that could happen is because of the judicial pronouncement of the Supreme Court that gave autonomy to the local government administration, where the chairman or those who are running the affairs of the local government feels that they are now autonomous, they do not owe the state government anything. So I am interested on how the judiciary, the courts, will deliver judgment on this particular matter. Because I quite understand that the judicial pronouncement for me is a law, but there should have been some kind of amendment in the Constitution giving them that full autonomy or giving them the powers. Until that is done, I do not know how the courts want to rule the matter. because it is also there that the State House of Assembly is, hinging their powers that they already, before the judicial pronouncement that gave autonomy to the local government administration, it was the State Assembly that makes laws for the administration of local governments in their respective states. So it was based on that, based on the constitution they quoted, that they are suspending and going further to impeach the chairman. But unfortunately, it is coming inconsistent. It's no longer inconsistent with the constitution, the ground which the Supreme Court has interpreted. So from how the judge will rule on this matter, I am particularly interested. Right now, I will not preempt the court to say it will go this way or that way, but it will be an interesting legal firework.
Interesting. And even more interesting, when you started speaking, the first statement you made, you said that the issue here for you is that this local government law that 20B that Edo State House of Assembly is hinging their argument upon is inconsistent with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the last time I checked, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the ultimate. Like every other constitution is subjected on that constitution. Now, let's look at the makeup and the structure of these 3 tiers of government. Just like, to a large extent, I would ask, can National Assembly suspend the sitting governor? The answer is no. They are not constitutionally empowered to suspend an elected governor. Right. Now, in the same vein, these local government chairmen were elected and not appointed. They were elected on the mandates of the people. So I'm trying to, make sense of it. How the state houses of assembly can suspend an elected council chairman. Now, they make the laws that, constitutionally they are empowered to make the laws. But it becomes an issue when they make the laws that arrogate powers that by the structure of Nigerian constitution, they are not even empowered to do that. But then the question would be, did anybody challenge this law when it was made? Did anybody push for the law to be vacated? George, you want to say something?
Actually, what I understood about this whole thing is that abolition, the constitution was made in a way that the state governments have some kind of a bearing control over the local government. And it was on that basis that even the constitution recognizes the state houses of assembly to make laws for the administration of the local government. Before now, if it was prior to this judicial pronouncement by Supreme Court, we would not be here. This matter would have been a foregone matter because the local government, the state assembly have the rights constitutionally to make laws for the administration of local government. But why you see, like I said, why I think that it will be an interesting legal firework is that just recently the Supreme Court has come to give a judicial pronouncement, which on its own, for me, I think is also an amendment to the Constitution. It's not as if maybe the House of Assembly, the National Assembly rather, the bicameral legislature will operate, to say, okay, we are amending section this and that. But judicial pronouncement, from my understanding, is a law. So it is on that note that the chairman have decided to say we are no longer under the apron strings of the state government. Therefore, we will not obey. That is where I want to see how the judges will handle this matter. Like I said, if it was prior to this day, this matter would have been concluded because the State Assembly is empowered by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to make laws. It was on that basis that you see that they have started to say, based on section this of the district law, we have the powers. And they are even going further to seek, the mandate of the court to grant them the powers to oversee and run the administration of, including the finance, now that they have impeached or they have suspended the council chairman. So this is how it has been all this while.
All right.
But unfortunately, like I said, I will look at how the judges will handle it. It's a very serious matter. Let the judges handle the matter. Let me see what their outcome will be.
All right. Okay. If I will come to you, but then it's very important that I use River State, to cite an example. You recall when Martin Samehule led River State House of Assembly made a law, extending the tenure of the local government chairman, and some people, took that matter to court, asking the court, and there were other laws that were made. You recall that a River State High Court, said that that law is invalid. Those laws were invalid, and also went further to say that River State House of Assembly was arrogating executive powers onto themselves, and set that law aside. However, interestingly, when Supreme Court was now giving its judgment, it reaffirmed the earlier law made by Martin Samehule-led House of Assembly, that the State House of Assembly has the right to extend the tenure of local government chairman not longer by 6 months. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this. Now, there are laws that are made, that a law was made by a State House of Assembly, and when you look at that law, it does not align with what is obtainable in, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why can't that law be vacated? That's one question, because I'm still asking that question. Can a State House of Assembly suspend an elected local government chairman? One would now say, what is the job of the councillors who suddenly have woken up? This is the first time we are seeing impeachment here and there of local government chairmen by councillors, right? Now, but it is what it is. Secondly, can the governor demand for statement of account, or is the local government chairman in this instance accountable to their own legislative arm, which is the councillors? Go ahead, define.
Everything I'm seeing here is inconsistency of our laws. Anywhere you find yourself, you try to arrogate that particular power to yourself. I think I'm praying that I will be able to, make an informed opinion on this. But first and foremost, I want to say that this is the first time I'm even getting to know that the governors will demand accountability from local governments. When did that one start? Is it not the governors that were giving them some porridge of yam? They were the people having the pot in Nigeria. Is it just within few months that the Supreme Court made a pronouncement through a case instituted by the federal government for the executive arm of the government to allow for financial autonomy? That's the only thing that has been removed from them, and that is the cash cow of the governors. Why you see people fighting to become governors is not only the monies that are credible to them, it's because they were able to dip their hands in the local government pot, forgetting that nobody, even you journalists, nobody is talking about the security vote again. Everybody is talking about the excess money accruable from the removal of fuel subsidy, and at least in River State here, you, Lawrence, I give it to you that you always question what the governor of River State is doing, and other Niger Delta state governors are doing, or NDDC states are doing with their 13% oil derivations. I give it to you and the ATN, but nobody is talking about the security votes again. That is not been accounted. So these are the conduit pipes from which we have financial overflows that nobody is accounting for. Then I now ask another question. When has it become the Edo State governor is barely 2 months, and now the PDP lawmakers, let's not forget that we have not heard that they have defected, but in spirit they have defected. But in physical, they are PDP members. But for their body languages and what is coming out from them and their dispositions, you find out that they are now in the same bed with APC. And you take nothing away from them that even prior to the election, they have seen the handwriting, they must have seen the handwriting of the wall, and some of them aligned with APC to make sure that Mondo Pueblo comes to seat. Because you cannot tell me that in a twinkle of an eye, a duly constituted House of Assembly that has a majority of PDP members and the sitting speaker, a PDP member, will now begin to align with a governor to chastise their own party members. This is an affront. I never did see this kind of politics play out in any part of the world. But this is where we are in Nigeria. You know, so that is now leading me into saying that what is the nature of the offenses that those people have committed in 2 months that have led the governor to demand for their... Is it not the same way elections are conducted in Nigeria that is causing this problem, especially how governors conduct local government elections? The sitting governor and the ruling party takes it all. Assuming you go to Edo State now and half of those people are from APC, you know, half of them are from PDP, and maybe Labour Party got some fractions, you won't see this thing happen. But the governor wants to make sure that he bends those local government chairmen to do his bidding. Because just like George said, you find out that with the pronouncement of the Supreme Court that have become a grand norm in Nigeria today, the governor cannot dip his hands in the local government coffers. That is where I see all those things coming from. Because if they are APC local government chairman, will you tell me that the governor will be demanding for my accountability? Because he will now write a letter to them, tell them the quota they will be giving to the government that we saw in Anambra State. We saw that play out in River State here, that you find out that the governors will now be telling them, Soludo made a kangaroo law, even before, immediately after that Supreme Court judgment. Tying some projects that the local government and the state government will be doing together just to make sure that they have a bite of that financial autonomy. It's very unfortunate. That is the only thing that I'm seeing that is playing out here, that those local government chairmen, being PDP members, that Oebolo have no 100% control over them or over the monies that are being turned out to them that are no longer necessarily coming through the jack they normally share with the government. That is the meat of the matter. So when you now see the inconsistency of now impeaching a local a local government chairman and their deputies by councillors that are also PDP members, those councillors that won election are not the APC. You mean this is a master stroke from APC? You know, for them to turn these people against their own family members. It is laughable. So this particular thing that is happening, forget about the House of Assembly has the constitutional backing to now supervise over local governments through the laws that are brought to them by the executive. They are in the same bed. But finally on this, you cannot tell me that the House of Assembly that has the statutory right to supervise, the Constitution gave them, they asked a question, the Constitution gave them the statutory right to supervise because they are the ones making the laws that is governing the local governments. So they also have the right to checkmate what is happening, but they have no constitutional backing whatsoever to suspend. Because those local government chairmen were elected by an election conducted by the state sec, Edo State sec. The mandate given by the people of Edo State in their localities. So that power to suspend or to remove is given up on them. The only thing they could do for free, let me advise them, is to set up a committee that will now liaise and look at the infractions of what they are doing in their local government, because they also are the people that made that law. Right. But the powers to remove or suspend, they lack it.
All right.
So, and they have failed in their duty to have constituted a committee through the committee of the State House Assembly that oversees the local governments and call them to question. They have missed it, and today like George said, we are waiting to see how the judiciary interprets this at the end of the day.
All right. George, what do you have to say before we move over?
I would say that it's unfortunate what is happening in this state, but on the other hand, it is something that will strengthen our jurisprudence. You know, the outcome of the legal firewall will actually strengthen the jurisprudence. Other states will take a cue from that. Coming to the governor is unfortunate, I must say, that barely 2 months into his administration, he's trying to take control. Like my brother said here, if it is not for the pits, the money, you won't see all this playing out. Because they have been used to dipping hands into the funds of the local government to run whatever they are running. So it's biting them heavily. For them, it's like if you put the local government together, money that they are having is even much more heavier than what the state government is controlling.
Of course.
So that to them is it could be anarchy. If the local government team up together, they can even fight the state government with the kind of money they have.
Yes.
So they don't want to see that happening. So let the judiciary do the needful. What I am interested in here is to find out if the judicial pronouncement made by the Supreme Court can actually serve as an amendment to the Constitution, because the Constitution empowers the State Houses of Assembly to oversee the administration of local government.
Yes.
And if in Edo State, the Assembly have come to say, we are suspended, we are doing this, we are doing that, and these people are saying that you do not have such powers, let's go to court. So I want to see how the court, will rule on this matter if the judicial pronouncement is actually covers the amendment. So that's where I'm, particularly.
Lorisha, you said something about, there's a question you asked me about River State. Just in a nutshell, the River State, whether the High Court in River State has, set aside or nullified that particular laws that Martin Samehule led River State House Assembly made or not, what is going to play out in the Supreme Court. We now revalidate.
No, that wasn't what I said. No, I cited it as an example.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Of what transpired when the court, in River State, invalidated the law made by
the
Martin Samehule led House of Assembly, elongating the tenure of local government chairmen. And I said, in the Supreme Court judgment of July 2024,
yes,
that Supreme Court, after the action of that court, Supreme Court had gone ahead to also make a judgment on that. Supreme Court said that state houses of assembly have the power to elongate the tenure of local government chairmen. I was just using it to cite an example, like, can laws be made by state houses of assembly, and when it is found inconsistent and challenged in court, can it be set aside? That's the question I was asking.
Yes,
right?
It can be set aside if it's inconsistent with the Constitution. But but in the case of the laws made by Martin Samehule, it was consistent with the provisions of the Constitution.
All right, very well.
So it was and what will resonate it? Let's say that it is still in the cooler because Martin Samehule and they have not challenged it to make sure that the Supreme Court or the Appeal Court now looks at the pronouncement of the Supreme Court, validating the law they have made. But at the end of the day, when this whole process of the validity and non-validity of his speakership and membership is being concluded, it will now resonate. That is what I'm trying to say. It will now authenticate that particular law they have made. No particular court of competent jurisdiction will now have the power to set it aside, because it has already been affirmed by the Supreme Court.
All right, very well.